Robot vacuums have improved dramatically in the last few years, and the latest generation of robot vacuums seem to finally fit the notion of what's expected from something called a robot. Today we're going to be putting the ECOVACS DEEBOT OZMO 950, the Roborock S5, and the iRobot Roomba i7 in a head-to-head challenge to see not only which vacuum cleans better, but also which vacuum is the smartest and, therefore, most fitting of the term robot. We're going to start with the cleaning tests. This is a vacuum after all, so actually cleaning well is pretty darn important. If you want to see which is the smartest, most efficient, or has the best everyday features, head on over to our features and intelligence comparison for those tidbits. There are many parts of a spec sheet that you might look at when comparing robot vacuums, but things like suction power don't always hold face value, and like many technical specs for products, numbers don't always tell the whole story, meaning that better specs don't always deliver a better experience. All three vacuums used in today's video were brand new and not run at all before these tests were performed. First, we'll begin with the gap test. Hardwood and tile are more common nowadays than ever before, and while they aren't as difficult to deeply clean as carpet, they can still present several challenges. The gaps in wood floors, for instance, could find plenty of little bits getting stuck inside if the vacuum doesn't have enough suction to get the job done. If you've got real wood floors, you'll probably even find a knot or two that came out over the years and has left an effectual hole in the floor. We're testing out both of these types of gaps today, and we will see which vacuum is best built to handle the messes that accumulate inside. As with any test, the floor has been thoroughly cleaned beforehand to ensure the test does not get skewed, and then the same process is repeated after each vacuum has been run to ensure the next one starts with a clean slate. For this test, I took a 1/4 teaspoon and filled 2 knots and 3 gaps with a spoonful of ground coffee each, totaling 1 1/4 teaspoons on the floor to clean. The vacuums then were allowed 1 full pass of the area. This includes cleaning all around the edges and getting the center of the area as well. After finishing, the contents of the dustbin were emptied onto a small plate for comparison's sake. Since this test is a little more difficult to see from the top camera than the other tests, I made sure to get in close with another camera to show what was left in each of the 3 gaps and both of the knots in the wood. Just looking at the gaps themselves, it's pretty obvious who won this test. Both the iRobot Roomba i7 and the Roborock S5 do a pretty good job of cleaning, but mostly just deliver a surface level clean and don't pull many of the fine particles out of the gaps or the knots. Given the way they handle other types of debris, this was pretty disappointing. The ECOVACS DEEBOT OZMO 950, on the other hand, was able to suck out basically everything, and left only a small amount in one of the knots, while the 3 gaps and the other knot had no visible trace of coffee grounds left at all. Comparing the plates at the end of the test confirms this was the case, and the OZMO 950 won hand over fist in this test, with approximately double the cleaning performance. You'll find that the OZMO 950's fine particle cleaning performance continues throughout the remainder of the video, making this gap test a perfect one to start with. Now, on to corner cleaning. Corners are notoriously difficult for a round vacuum that's just trying to fit into a square corner to clean. This test was performed by placing a 1/4 cup of ground coffee into that corner and another 1/4 cup of ground coffee against the adjacent flat floorboard. An approximate 3 by 3 foot area was blocked off, and the vacuums were each allowed 2 passes in order to clean up as much of the coffee grounds as possible. As these tests were running, pay special attention to what happens to the fine coffee grounds as the vacuums sweep the edge with their brushes. You'll find that the results from the previous test hold true for the OZMO 950's ability to pick up fine particles extremely well. This first pass against the edge of the wall and through the corner shows that the OZMO 950 only leaves particles on the edge of the wall and is able to get basically everything on the floor, while both the iRobot Roomba i7 and the Roborock S5 have left plenty of particles all over the floor. Part of the advantage comes in the form of the dual side brushes on the OZMO 950, which keep the fine coffee grounds from being scattered all over the floor, as the second brush catches anything the other brush tosses about. The other 2 vacuums just have a single brush, and that causes the coffee grounds to get scattered across the floor when they try to clean the corner. This ends up making more of a mess because of it. They eventually get most of it picked up, but it takes several passes to get everything, and this does not happen at all with the Osmo 950. To measure the results, I swept up the remainder of the coffee grounds at the end of each run and dumped them on a plate, while the contents of the dustbin were emptied on a separate plate. During the cleaning, the Osmo 950 did a better job, not just because it didn't scatter grounds all over the floor like the other two, but also because it picked up more of the grounds, both in the corner and on the edge of the wall, leaving a cleaner overall scene, as well as picking up more grounds than the other vacuums as well. Now for more than just coffee grounds. Plenty of other things get on the floor too, from food particles in the kitchen to hair in the bathroom. Each room has its own challenges, and vacuums aren't just made to clean up one type of thing. It's certainly worth noting that the Osmo 950 ships with a considerably larger water tank than ever before, and an enhanced mop pad design. The pads that are installed on the Roborock S5 and the Osmo 950 by default are washable and reusable pads, while the Osmo 950 also ships with additional disposable pads as well. I really like the design of the new pads in the Osmo 950 as they are more highly textured than Roborock's, which generally works better when removing sticky residue and trapping those ultrafine particles in the wet pad. It's also got a padded lip on the end that should prove to be a little more gentle and more reliably catch the edges of area rugs and other carpeted areas before accidentally mopping them. That 140 milliliter water tank on the Roborock S5 is built into the pad base and is significantly smaller than the one on the Osmo 950. Anyone with a larger home or lots of non-carpeted surfaces will likely find the Roborock running out of water before the whole home gets mopped, while that 240 milliliter tank on the Osmo is unlikely to ever run out of water on a normal run. What's more is that the Osmo 950 can control the amount of water that trickles down into the pad directly through the app, while the Roborock S5 doesn't have this option at all, either physically or through the app. ECOVACS has 4 flow settings in the app, giving significant control over how wet you want your floors to be after vacuuming and mopping. iRobot offers mops as well, but they're separate products and must be purchased and run independently from the vacuum, adding to the overall cost of ownership. Lastly, we're going to take a look at carpet cleaning ability on these 3 vacuums. Carpets are notoriously easy to get dirty because of their capacity to hold lots of stuff inside. The test consisted of 1 tablespoon of coffee, a 1/4 cup of dried kidney beans, another 1/4 cup of Chex cereal, which is a mix of complete and partial pieces, and a measured spoonful of hair, all spread out in individual lines along the middle of a squared-off section of carpet. This is a 1/2-inch pile area rug, so it's plush enough to get things caught inside, but not too much to cause issues for a robot vacuum, as some shag rugs certainly can. First, I allowed each vacuum to make a single pass of the test site, and then I dumped the contents of the dustbin onto an empty plate. This pass includes a single perimeter sweep as well as full coverage of rows inside that perimeter. As is usual, the Roomba works on the middle first, followed by the perimeter, while the other 2 square off the area and then clean inside that square. Upon taking that second pass, all 3 vacuums come out fairly even in their results, and these pictures show what was picked up from each vacuum and how they compare in cleaning results. At the end of these tests, it's clear that the ECOVACS DEEBOT OZMO 950 is the best of the 3 robot vacuums we've tested. As with anything, it's not going to win every competition, but those advanced motors and brushes on the unit help it clean up fine particles better than we've ever seen from a robot vacuum, and its ability to easily clean up dust, hair, and annoyingly small particles make this a perfect home companion for everyday cleaning. Want to see which robot vacuum is the smartest? Head on over to our features and intelligence comparison video to find out which robot vacuum has the best everyday features and which is the smartest and most efficient vacuum overall. We hope you enjoyed that comparison and will subscribe to us for regularly updated content. Chat with us on your favorite social media network, and don't forget to check out AndroidHeadlines.com for 24/7 worldwide tech news coverage. Thanks for watching, and until next time.